Hey there, Tom Romeo from PCS here to show you some new features in the database health product that we have. It's DB Health, we call it. So I'm going to install it on this virtual machine. And you see it's running PowerShell. It's going to make sure that all of the Windows features that this product needs are installed. After accepting the agreement, I'm going to change the disk to G and just go through it. I'm going to put a desktop shortcut and bam, it's installed. Okay, so let's go in and launch the configuration aspect of the product. So what you see here is the registration. You have to register it before you can use it. We give you a 2-week free trial, and since Halloween is coming, maybe Willy Wonka is the registration we'll use. I'm going to use my email, however, because I want to be able to receive emails. So unfortunately, I don't employ Mr. Wonka. So here we go. After I'm done typing in my phone number, I'm going to save it and then click on Get a Temporary License. And then after that, I'm going to actually go get a real license from the web service, and then we'll go pull that into the product. But before we do that, I'm going to show you how we used to add databases. So here I just pasted in the SQL Server name, which is on this particular virtual machine. Test connection, you see I'm a sysadmin, and I'm going to pick a database. There are only a few databases in this SQL Server. So I'm going to pick a database, test the connection, and save it. Now you notice at the bottom there's Add All Databases and Remove Deleted Databases buttons. These are brand new buttons, which makes it a lot easier to add all of your databases rather than having to add them one at a time. Now you'll notice here that I saved the license and I clicked add all databases, and bam, there they appear. So it's much easier to do this than it would have been in the past. We're going to go through the configuration and then later I'll do the SMTP. So I'm going to set the log level for normal. We're going to keep only 2 days of database backups live on this server. We could copy them off and keep them indefinitely someplace else. The max size of the DB transaction log is 32 megabytes, but you can make it whatever you like. The service is going to run at 1:30 in the morning, and I would like to get an email giving me errors, failures, and potential issues. So any query that runs more than 5 seconds, I want to know about it. Any query that returns more than 1,000, that requires more than 1,000 reads per row, I want to know about, but only if the query ran about 100 times. I don't care if it's a one-off query that was poor performing. I care if it's a query that's poor performing that runs all the time. The purge jobs are going to run every 10 minutes, and the backup transaction log and checkpoint, if it's a simple log database, is going to run every hour. Also notice I've got send confirmation of no issues checked. What that means is if there are no issues at all, I still want an email, because the absence of an email doesn't mean there are no problems. So I want to know, I want to get an email every day, and I want it to tell me, hey, there were no problems or there were some problems. If I didn't get an email at all, then I wouldn't know for sure. So I unchecked copy and FTP. I don't care about running the sysinfo on the SQL Server. And I don't really care about missing indexes for right now. Now you notice these 2 new checkboxes: auto add new databases and auto remove deleted databases. So this lets you run this product in pretty much set it and forget it mode. If somebody adds a new database to the SQL Server, we'll automatically detect it and add it to the backup scheme. And if somebody deletes a database from the SQL Server, we'll automatically detect it and remove it. Notice I'm logged in using the local system account for this service. And what we're going to do is demonstrate the new feature. So I've just saved it. And I'm going to add a new database to the SQL Server, and then we're going to wait and see if it appears. So here we go. I'm in SQL Management Studio, and I'm going to create a new database that doesn't do anything so that we can show that the product actually will pick it up while it's running. Now, the check for that happens sometime periodically. So we're going to just pause and then come back when it's been added so we don't have to waste all that time on this video. So here we go. Okay, so some time has passed. I'm going to launch the Health Assist console again. And there is the new database that we added to SQL Server. So now I want to show you that the opposite will occur. So I'm going to go to SQL Management Studio and delete it. Right? So I'm going to delete that database. And then after some time, when we know that it has run, we're going to then go back into the configuration monitor, and we will see that the database has been removed. So this really is a time saver for everybody. And there it's gone. And I want to show you a few other really cool things. You know, while we were absent, I added the SMTP info into the product so that we can test and get an email. And you won't get those emails if the product is not licensed. But like I said, you get a 2-week free trial, and then when you pay for the product, we will license you for a permanent license. But what I want to show you next is really cool, and this is something that everybody needs. We're going to create a purge job, and you don't have to know SQL, SQL query language in order to do this. So I'm going to click on New Purge Job. I'm going to select a database, and then I'm going to select the table that I want to act upon. I'm going to pick one of the historical tables. And it doesn't matter which one because this is just a demo. And now I'm going to pick a field. It's going to be the archive date. And I'm going to say, get rid of all rows from this table that are more than a year old. And to do that, we'll say the archive date is less than 1 year. And this is the order of operations. If I had more items in my where clause, I'd order them by which one is more important to least important. And you see it generated that query for me, where archive date is less than, get date minus a year. Okay, so now I could modify it to do more than 1,000 rows. Save it, and bam, it updated to 4,000. And if I test that SQL, it'll actually run it for me. So now that SQL is going to run every 10 minutes until it doesn't delete anything else for today. Then tomorrow it's going to try again, and it's going to keep running until there's no more. So I'm going to make another purge job on a different table with the same criteria just to show you how easy it is. And then I want to show you how to edit them. So same thing, less than 1 year. And that's the criteria. And if I test that SQL, it'll actually run. So now if I edit a purge job, I could pick the one I want to edit, and then I can modify it if I wish, and then save it. And that's pretty much it. This page shows you how to set up the copy and FTP. So when we do backups, you can copy it to another network drive, someplace on-prem, or wherever you can copy to. It could even be Dropbox. FTP, put in the FTP credentials, or we can use Azure AZ Copy. And if this was a SQL managed instance, we can put in a backup URL, and then it would back up to that URL up in Azure Blob Storage. Over and out. Thanks for watching, and remember, you can download all of our software from our website.